Hey everyone, and welcome. Did you know that agriculture still employs nearly half of India's workforce? It's huge! And that's exactly why understanding agriculture and rural development is absolutely critical for your NABARD Grade A exam. So, in this high-speed revision, we're going to laser focus on the must-know concepts that'll give you that extra edge.
So, can you really master the entire ARD syllabus in just 5 minutes? Well, it sounds a bit crazy, I know, but it's not impossible if we're smart about it. We're going to focus on the 4 key pillars of the exam: the market, farmer empowerment, rural infrastructure, and of course the key government schemes. Stick with me, and by the end of this, you'll have a rock-solid framework for your revision.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll follow the money, from the farm gate all the way to the final price. Then we'll look at how farmers are teaming up. After that, we'll zoom out to the entire rural economy. And we'll finish up with a rapid-fire round on the most critical schemes and credit institutions. Let's dive in.
Okay, our journey starts right at the farm gate. We're going to trace the path of produce, from the moment a farmer harvests it to when it lands on a consumer's plate. And along the way, we're going to uncover some of the biggest economic challenges and opportunities in this whole sector.
So, picture this. A farmer in rural Maharashtra grows some amazing onions. Now, in the old traditional system, they might sell those onions to a local trader for just a few rupees a kilo. That trader then sells to a wholesaler, who sells to a retailer in Mumbai, who finally sells to you. By the time those onions are in your kitchen, the price has shot up. But guess what? The farmer's share is still tiny. And that's the problem we're trying to fix.
Okay, let's lock in the key differences here, because this is important. The traditional channel is just bogged down by all those middlemen and a total lack of transparency. Modern reforms, like the Electronic National Agriculture Market, or ENAM, are designed to fix this. They create one big, unified, and transparent market online, which slashes costs and helps farmers actually discover the best price for their hard work.
But what happens if the market price just totally crashes? That's where the minimum support price, or MSP, comes into play. You can think of it as an insurance policy from the government. It's a guaranteed minimum price to protect farmers from a sudden, sharp fall in prices. It's a safety net.
So let's put ourselves in a farmer's shoes for a second. First, you've got all your out-of-pocket expenses: seeds, fertilizer, paying for labor, all that stuff. That's your A2 cost. But wait, what about all the work your own family puts in? That has value too, right? That's where A2 plus FL comes in. It adds the value of that unpaid family labor. And finally, if you own your land, you're not paying rent, but there's still a cost to using it. C2 captures that, making it the most comprehensive, all-in measure of a farmer's real costs. Getting a fair price is huge, but it's only half the battle. For farmers to really succeed, they also need knowledge and the power to negotiate. So, in our next section, we're going to explore how farmers are coming together and getting educated to empower themselves across India.
A single small farmer doesn't have a lot of bargaining power. It's tough. But what happens if thousands of them join forces? Well, that's the whole idea behind a farmer-producer organization, or an FPO. It's basically a company owned by the farmers themselves, which lets them buy supplies in bulk and sell their produce together, getting much, much better deals.
And here's where it gets super relevant for your exam. NABARD is the main institution championing these FPOs. It doesn't just talk about them. It actively funds them with things like equity grants and provides credit guarantees to banks, which makes it way easier for FPOs to get the loans they need. So remember this, NABARD's support is hands-on and multifaceted.
All right, so how does all this new knowledge and technology actually get to the farmer? That's where agricultural extension comes in. There are pretty much 3 main ways to do it. You've got individual methods, like a farm visit, which are awesome for solving one-on-one problems. Then there are group methods, like training days, which are perfect for teaching a new skill. And finally, you have mass methods, like radio or TV, to spread awareness to a lot of people really, really quickly.
Now, the key institution doing this work on the ground is the Krishi Vigyan Kendra, or KVK. Pretty much every district has one. Just think of KVKs as the ultimate bridge. They take all the cool scientific research from the lab and show farmers how to actually use it in the field. They are the crucial last-mile connection for agritech.
Okay, a strong farm sector is the foundation, right? But that's not the whole building. To create a truly modern rural India, you need more. In this section, we're going to zoom out and look at the infrastructure, the economic shifts, and the social changes that are really shaping the future of our villages. This chart here shows a really critical trend. While farming is still the main source of livelihood for most, the rural non-farm sector is growing fast. We're talking about things like food processing, services, small industries. This is so important for creating better-paying jobs and giving work to people that agriculture can't support anymore.
And here's what fuels that non-farm growth. It all comes down to infrastructure. You need good roads from schemes like PMGSY, better irrigation from PMKSY, and digital connectivity through BharatNet. These are the building blocks. And you see the common thread here? It's NABARD. Through its Rural Infrastructure Development Fund, or RIDF, it's a key financier for all of this.
Now, this whole economic shift has a massive social impact. As men increasingly migrate from villages to cities to find non-farm work, it's the women who are left managing the farms. This trend is called the feminization of agriculture, and it's completely reshaping rural society and who makes up the agricultural workforce. It's a key trend to watch.
All right, last section. We're going to do a rapid-fire review of the key institutions and schemes that are the engine behind rural development. These are the names you will definitely see on your exam, so let's make sure you know them inside and out.
The story of rural credit in India is really a story of expanding its reach. It started with nationalizing banks back in '69, then creating specialized RRBs. But the big one for us is 1982, the birth of NABARD. After that, we saw amazing new models like the SHG Bank Linkage Program, all leading up to the massive financial inclusion drive of Jan Dhan Yojana.
So what does NABARD actually do? Well, it wears three main hats. First, it's a refinancer. It provides money to other banks so they can lend in rural areas. Second, it has a developmental role. It builds up institutions like FPOs and SHGs. And third, it's a supervisor, keeping an eye on cooperative banks and RRBs. So the key takeaway is that NABARD doesn't just lend money. It develops and supervises the entire system.
One of NABARD's most famous innovations is the SHG Bank Linkage Program. It's a brilliant idea. It takes these small, informal groups of women, called self-help groups, who save and lend money among themselves, and it connects them to the formal banking system. This is the world's largest microfinance program and an incredibly powerful tool for women's empowerment.
And the main government scheme that's scaling this amazing model up across the entire country is the Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana National Rural Livelihoods Mission, or DAY-NRLM for short. Its core mission is simple: reduce poverty by promoting these self-help groups.
Next up, MGNREGA. Think of this as the ultimate rural employment safety net. It's a law that guarantees 100 days of wage employment to any rural household that asks for it, and the work they do creates community assets like ponds and roads.
And finally, we have PMGSY. Now, this one's different. It's all about direct income support. It transfers 6,000 rupees a year, split into 3 payments, directly into the bank accounts of farmer families. No strings attached. Wow, we've covered a ton of ground in a very short time. But if there's one thing to take away, it's this. Rural development isn't about just one scheme or one institution. It's about connecting all the dots. As a future NABARD officer, your job will be to weave all these different threads together to create a stronger, more resilient rural India. The future of our villages is in your hands. Now go ace that exam. Good luck.